And I do hope that the authorities will actually pursue some of these investigations. They will bring charges. And I think if they do so, there is a very good chance that both he and Sarah Ferguson may well go to prison. A leaked email has caused a stir at the palace, revealing secrets and reopening old issues. It has reportedly pushed Sarah Ferguson to her breaking point. The email relates to Prince Andrew's past scandals, which have created tensions that royal statements cannot calm. Rumors of betrayal, hidden connections, and possible legal action are circulating behind palace walls. Could this be when Sarah finally turns against the man she once defended? Stay tuned as we reveal the email that disrupted royal silence. The email that started it all, a message from the shadows. It all started with one email. This email, reportedly from 2011, showed Prince Andrew contacting a Metropolitan Police officer to ask for personal information about Virginia Jew, the woman at the center of the Epstein scandal. Jew's name had just become public, and the well-known photo of Andrew with her had shocked the royal family. But this email suggested something more serious. A senior royal may have tried to use official connections to find sensitive information about his accuser. When the email came to light this year, it did more than reopen old issues. It disrupted the fragile peace between Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson. For years they had shared a home at the Royal Lodge and presented a united front amid chaos. However, sources close to Sarah said this leak changed everything. The email's tone, content, and timing showed a side of Andrew that even Sarah found hard to defend. Reports indicated that the email included details like Joffrey's date of birth and social security number, implying that Andrew deliberately sought information to discredit her. The revelation immediately drew attention from the Metropolitan Police, who confirmed they are reviewing the claims. Prince Andrew has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, but the situation looks bad. This is not just a scandal. It raises concerns about abuse of privilege and reignites public outrage and demands for accountability from the royal family. The leak shocked many people. Sarah, who had defended Andrew during the height of the Epstein crisis, was furious and deeply affected. Her name and her daughters' names, Beatrice and Eugenie, had appeared in older emails related to Epstein. The thought that Andrew's actions could drag them back into controversy made her angry. This situation is no longer just about reputation. It feels personal for Sarah. Insiders say her reaction was quick and emotional. If Andrew thought the worst had passed, this email proved him wrong. The issues from 2011 have returned, and Sarah is no longer silently supporting him. As this story gained traction, one question echoed in royal corridors and newsrooms. What will Sarah do next? Sarah's legal strike from defender to adversary. When that email leaked and lit up social media, it wasn't Andrew's face stealing the spotlight. Sarah's silence spoke volumes. Her radio silence was deafening for a woman who had supported her ex through scandal after scandal. It conveyed everything without her saying a word. Whispers from the inner circle suggest she's had enough. She's got lawyers on speed dial for a possible bombshell move, taking Andrew to the Supreme Court. It sounds like a fever dream, right? But amid the conversations among the royalty, it hits too close to home. Sarah has spent decades trying to clear her name in the face of posts, split turmoil, and endless tabloid attacks. The constant insinuation that she's leaning on his royal privileges has always followed her. But this email where someone snoops into Joffrey's life like a shady private investigator that crossed the line. What infuriated her? The ramifications for her reputation, and worse, Beatrice and Eugenie caught in the fallout. Old notes about Epst hinting at post-jail visits. She shut that down hard with her representative stating, "No memory zero, full stop. Unfortunately, rumors don't care. Whether truth or fiction, they stick like glue." This backlash feels crushing. For Sarah, who has spent years trying to distance herself from her past. There's a real risk of people labeling her as involved or too cozy with the creep. The public perception blurs. Andrew's sins have stained the whole family. Palace insiders are on high alert. Suits are pacing like it's doomsday. Each new revelation about Epstein tears fresh holes in their attempts to project that we've moved on image. Charles and William, already keeping their distances from Andrew, are now furious. This jeopardizes their efforts to maintain the good guy's narrative, especially as they promote their vision of a streamlined modern monarchy. The timing is cruel. The monarchy is slowly moving forward with a focus on restraint and rebooting. And then bam, Epstein's shadow drags them back into a world of privilege and power dynamics that reek of scandal. As the leak's wildfire continues to spread, tweets ignite, clicks increase. One question drowns out the noise. Did Andrew ever truly cut ties with Epstein, or are those old connections still lurking? So how did the palace respond? Let's take a closer look. The Buckingham Fallout Crisis mode engages. When that email went viral, the palace didn't erupt. There were no fireworks, just an eerie stillness that screamed, "Oh crap." Without saying a word, they had been cleaning up Andrew's Epstein controversy for years, carefully crafting spins and PR fluff about how he's reflecting. But this situation threatened to wash it away like a bad tide. Behind those glossy walls, the suits were in a low boil panic, bottled up but palpable. Their game plan was basic but harsh. Clamp down on the situation, steer the narrative, and bury it before the world started chanting about another royal clown show. Charles, he was holed up, tense and worried, surrounded by his trusted advisors, and William, who had always been the family's fix-the-mess enforcer. Insiders revealed that William was Alan. There were no doubts. Their uncle's past drama had already burned them once. This could ruin the entire institution. It's not just about tweaking the royal image anymore. It's about preserving trust, as fragile as it is, which keeps the monarchy afloat. Still reeling from Elizabeth's passing, they navigated a world that looked at them with suspicion. Why should we trust you? Another scandal could destroy the We're Your Betters image for good. Charles had to make a difficult call, tough but necessary. He reportedly leveled with Andrew. A step back is cute. This is over. No more public appearances. No more celebrations. The announcement came quickly. The Duke of York was sidelined. Goodbye title, military badges stripped away, and patron perks vanished. That once glorious knight of the Garter status snuffed out. Centuries of honorable tradition reduced to dust. His Highness title on hold. A polite way of saying it's paused. One observer summed it up nicely. It was a symbolic removal gift wrapped with "we regret" bows. But this wasn't just Charles acting alone. There was chatter that government officials and William were pushing hard. Clean house or face parliamentary backlash. Rumors of talks about stripping his duke were already circulating. It would need Parliament's approval, but pressure was building. Outwardly, the palace was stone-faced. There was no deeply saddened statement, just the announcement that he was out. Every inquiry was met with a no-comment thank you. It was classic freeze-out. Inside, the atmosphere was bleak yet determined. The mission was to cut off the fire's oxygen. They hoped that the scandal would die down. However, the royal closets are notoriously leaky. Journalists were pulling at threads. MP demanded transparency, and Sarah hired lawyers. That mastery of managing the situation felt like a group of mice caught in a trap. Charles may have thought he had minimized the drama, but from the outside, it looked like the family was bracing for the next bombshell. Just as the palace thought they had managed to contain the situation, Westminster started to stir. Could lawmakers finally press the crown? Stay tuned, we're investigating. Parliament versus the palace, a battle for accountability. When Andrew's scandal resurfaced, backlash didn't just fade away at the palace. It surged into the echoing halls of Westminster like an unavoidable storm. MP and lords have played nice for years, bound by outdated rules that essentially say, don't interfere with royal private matters. But this leak, the frenzy and accusations of his dodging, again broke that silence. A public outrage is boiling over. The press is in a frenzy, and lawmakers are abandoning their cautious approaches. No one is untouchable, not even a prince, as they say. It started subtly. Labour's Rachel Maskell from York Central revived her 2022 proposal, the removal of titles bill. Her previous warning about Epstein felt like a mild nudge compared to now. Every new revelation re-traumatizes people and erodes trust. She said, "We need a strong measure to remove titles when their luster wears off." Support came quickly. Ed Miliband criticized the Royal Police connection as deeply inappropriate and argued it needs serious scrutiny. Nadia Whittome from Nottingham East showed no mercy, stating, "You can't hide behind I'll resign excuses." Even Lords, usually cautious, began asking the tough questions. What did you know and when? Labour's George Folks voiced his frustration. These outdated restrictions are stifling us. We need to review them. Everyone should be accountable. It's no longer just Andrew under scrutiny. There's a broader call for transparency. Royals avoiding freedom of information requests hidden wills and unchecked finances. It feels like a cluttered attic from Grandma's house, clashing with today's demand for accountability. For some, Andrew's troubles are only part of a larger issue. The firm is too insulated from the call for ownership. Sarah's court drama suddenly seems significant. What was once perceived as old news now reflects the crowd's insistence on no more privileged treatment. The palace attempts to contain the fallout, but Westminster pushes back. Not today. MP consider revisiting Andrew's past as a trade envoy. Do we fund those benefits? Others question whether he's still residing at Royal Lodge. Time to evict. Tradition may serve as a barrier, but history is breaking through. This could lead to a complete overhaul of the rules. While the palace tries to remain silent, Westminster is amplifying its demands. Charles's promise of a fresh monarchy is now being scrutinized, and Parliament holds the power to decide. What began as Andrew's headache is now a probe into privilege, with Sarah serving as the unexpected catalyst. As the pressure mounts, all eyes return to Royal Lodge, that old refuge for him and Fergie. What secrets linger there? Stay tuned. We're about to shake things up. Royal Lodge, the fortress of silence cracks. Tucked behind towering wrought iron spikes in Windsor Great Park lies Royal Lodge. This sprawling vine-draped estate that once radiated an atmosphere of royal retreat and easy living. But recently that vibe has cracked. What used to be Andrew and Sarah's quirky, shared getaway post-divorce, odd couple heaven now feels more like a fancy lockdown. The silence is thick with grudges, jitters, and those old better or worse ties that won't snap. Andrew has called it home since the early 2000s, bound by a lease tighter than a crown jewel. When the Queen Mom passed away, he acquired it and poured millions into renovations for relatively cheap rent. It was a safe bubble, far from the media's flashbulbs. After his fall from grace, he went into full hermit mode. However, the walls that once shielded him are now echoing with fresh turmoil. As for Sarah, her continued presence there has always been a head-scratcher that intrigued many. Even after they split in 1996, she has remained close, sharing the same roof as they co-parent Beatrice and Eugenie, all while labeling their relationship as unbreakable pals through the chaos. But whispers from her circle suggest that the atmosphere has soured since the recent email leak. What was once easy warmth has cooled into stiff nods and side glances. Friends say she's fed up, exhausted to the core with law books piling up. She's been working hard as an author, philanthropist, and someone trying to avoid the spotlight, shedding her old oops persona. Yet Andrew's latest troubles have dragged her back in like quicksand. The Duchess, who once supported him, now seems to be plotting her exit strategy, intent on putting distance between her fresh start and his baggage. One close friend revealed, "Lodge was our escape." Now it feels like a trap. Andrew is sinking deeper into solitude. His titles are gone, gigs have disappeared, and his dignity is in tatters. He has become a mere shadow of his former self. His days blur together, walks in the park, sparse visitors, and a stubborn spark of hope flickering. People say he's glued to the place to avoid one last scandal. The girls, Beatrice and Eugenie, are caught in the middle. They feel torn between their parents, but wear thin clothes due to the pressure. They visit often trying to play peacemakers, but they can't bridge the widening gap. Their mother is ready to say no more, while their father is building a wall of denial. If Sarah's aim to break free becomes reality,